Hi, guys. Welcome back to another episode of the Storytime Society. I'm your host, Jamie, and I'm so happy you're here. I'm so glad you're alive. Thank you guys for tuning in to another episode. I'm so seriously so happy to have you guys. I haven't filmed in a little bit because I kind of extra doubled up last week, so it's always fun to come back and talk to you guys and chat with you guys. This is a full episode, and we do full episodes on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and mini episodes on Mondays and Thursdays at 8 a.m. all day, or every day of the week. So we love that. But anyways, let's just get straight onto the story time. So we have a theme today, and it's like wedding drama. That's the theme. Okay? I think that's good enough. Wedding drama. I don't know. Is that a good theme? It's about weddings and there's drama. So, okay. The first story is titled, Am I the Asshole for Leaving the Dry Wedding Early to Go Out? So 2 weeks ago, I, 35 female, went to a wedding in our college town for a member of our college friend group. My husband and I left the kids with my parents and we went. We got a VRBO with another couple I went to college with for a few days. My husband and I don't have a ton of time to ourselves away from the kids, so we were super excited to let loose. On the invitation, it said the wedding went to 11 with an after party with the bride and groom at the venue. The venue was a gorgeous mansion and the bride and groom had it for the night. They were leaving for the honeymoon the next morning. Cut to wedding day, and it's a dry wedding. Apparently, the groom is 2 years sober. No one told us this, and we were admittedly bummed. When we found out there was no alcohol, we told people we were going to some bars after and not going to the after party. We left the wedding at 9:30 because we were itching to go out, and the wedding was boring. Pretty much the whole college crew left around that time and went out. Apparently, the bride's friend group did not stay for the party. The grooms did, and the optics were very lopsided at the party. We all heard from the bride about this, and she called us assholes for leaving. She said that she didn't feel supported and felt like we were spiting her now husband for his sobriety. I told her that she was reading too much into it. We just wanted to go out. She is especially mad at me as I'm looked at as the ringleader of this outing. I don't think I've done anything wrong. Am I the asshole? Edit, the ceremony was at 5 and the reception was at 6. I mean, yeah, kind of. The whole point is to celebrate them and their marriage. And I get that you don't get to go out a lot. Yeah, I get that. But, the whole point of this was so that you can celebrate your friends getting married and all you're thinking about is going out and drinking. I'm really confused about that. I think the focus should be on the bride. I would be upset. If I'm thinking about it from a personal perspective, and if this were my wedding, and it was a dry wedding, and all my friends were there and stuff, and then basically all of my friend group left the after party, I would be so upset because I want to be with my friends that night. It's a huge day. You're getting married. It's a once in a lifetime experience. You pay all this money to give them a good experience. Honestly, weddings are so crazy because it's you're paying hundreds of thousands of dollars to make everyone else have an amazing day on your amazing day. On your day that is supposed to be amazing. You put so much time and effort. You plan this for years or a year. You plan this for a long time and you put so much effort into this event so that you can make it the best experience for your family and your friends. And all they have to do is attend. Literally, that's all they have to do. After you put in all of this work and put in all of this money, all they have to do is attend. And one night you can't not go out. I don't know. It's a little bit weird to me. You should have just, I don't know. You're telling me you can't get a babysitter one other time and then go out a different time. It's just, that's rude. I would be very upset. But let's see what the comments are saying. You're the asshole. You're going to get a lot of, if you can't have fun without alcohol, then you have a serious addiction problem and you suck crowd. But I don't agree with that sentiment at all. And I think it misses the point entirely. So I want to be clear, that's not why I'm voting you're the asshole. I do think that couples should disclose that ahead of time so that people can plan for it, since alcohol at weddings is the norm. But you are an asshole for this. We told people, oh my God, why am I saying that? We told people we were going to some bars after and not going to the after party. We left the wedding at 9:30. You were talking shit at her wedding, and then you formed a whole group to leave her party early. That's a bad friend. Skipping her dry after party to go out after would be totally fine. Expected, even. But to leave the wedding early and bringing a group with you? Yeah. You suck super hard. She is trying to support her now husband, and she'll be supporting him like that during the whole marriage, and you couldn't even support your friend for 1.5 more hours. Life isn't about only ever doing what you want to do. You are running on a greedy algorithm, only choosing what makes you happy in the moment. Others be damned, and that's not what makes a good person. Sometimes we have to sit through long ceremonies for our siblings. Sometimes we have to go to boring art shows for our friends. And sometimes we have to participate in boring parties to celebrate the people we love. Get over it. Yeah, I definitely don't think that at all. Like, honestly, if I'm going out to like a bar or a club, I'm drinking. Otherwise, I'm not going to have fun. That does not make me an alcoholic because I literally never drink. Like, I go out maybe, honestly, haven't been out in months. Like, truly been out to the bars. I haven't been out in months. And like, I'll probably drink 1 to 2 times a month. If it's a heavy month, I'll drink once every weekend. So like 4 times a month. And I feel like that's not that bad. I could go months and months without drinking. And I do go months and months without drinking. So like the sentiment that if you can't have fun without alcohol, then you're like an alcoholic is a little bit crazy, because an alcoholic is definitely not that. You know? Okay, let's see. Someone responded to this comment. So I hate to be the one to tell you this, but hey, we're going to some bars after the wedding is not talking shit. That's telling people your plans. It would be different if they were like, yeah, we're going to leave this boring AF wedding for some bars, but they didn't. All they said is that they were going to some bars after the wedding. And then someone else responded. She didn't leave after the wedding. She literally did what you described by making plans with all of their friends and then leaving in the middle of the reception. In the US, wedding receptions are generally 3 to 4 hours. She left 1.5 hours before the end. I still think, even if it was the after party, like, I still kind of think that you're the asshole. Is that like wrong of me? I don't know. Just dedicate one night to your friends that are getting married, that put on this whole event for you, and all you had to do was attend, and then to like leave when everyone else is staying, and then like the bride has no friends left because they all left. I would feel like shit if I was that bride. Like, I'd be like, oh, okay. Like, they literally don't give a shit about me. They'd rather just go to the bars. And that's just a little crazy to me. Like, you're just itching to go out. Like, okay, calm down. That's a little crazy. It's a little far. I mean, you definitely don't have to like stay the whole time. I know that like usually I feel like the weddings that I've been to, I'll typically leave. Well, honestly, the weddings I've been to were my sister's, so I pretty much stay till the end. But I think I would leave, like, I left both of my sister's weddings around like 10, and then I think it went on for a little longer, just because both of my sister's weddings, I don't think I got drunk at all. I drank a little bit, but I wasn't like getting drunk or like hammered or anything like that. But I know that a lot of people were, so of course, like, all those people want to stay for longer, and that's totally fine. Okay, some more comments. Nobody's obligated to go to an after party. This is on the bride and groom for not communicating that it was a dry wedding. Leaving a wedding reception early is not asshole behavior. It's an invitation, not a summons. They showed up for the ceremony, stayed a reasonable time at the reception, and then left early. Okay, but I guess it just depends on how good of friends you are. Like, if it's just like some friends that you like knew in college and you weren't super close with, then okay, I get it. But it seems like that's not the case. It's like, yeah, obviously if my family, that's like, I don't know, my cousins and stuff and my aunts, if they want to leave early, sure, so be it. I don't really, it's fine. But it's like, if these are your close friends and this is like your close friend group from college, you would think that you could just, wait it out a few hours. I don't know. I feel like a lot of people are saying blindsiding your guests with a dry wedding is an asshole move. But I just don't understand that. Like, is alcohol really that important that you need to be warned ahead of time so that you can emotionally prepare? Is it that important? I don't feel like it's that important. I'd like to call you not the asshole. Had you just left quietly and not talked about it with groups of people, you would have you would have gotten that judgment. Unfortunately, you're the asshole. You told all the friends that this sucked and you were leaving to go get drunk and became a ringleader for the group of friends to follow. I get it. Weddings can be boring and drag on. I went to a wedding. Marriage didn't last longer than the wedding. The wedding started at 4 p.m. Very little food provided at the intermission before the reception. Only cucumber and wedges with cream cheese. I don't know why. But by 10:30, the dinner hadn't started. We ran to a diner and found our other wedding guests. A complete surprise, but we all laughed it off. Not 10:30, the dinner? The fuck? I won't even be there till 10:30. That's so not normal. Don't you eat dinner at the reception usually? The intermission before the reception? Yeah. We ate dinner like right after the ceremony. The reception was where we ate dinner. So I'm confused why you wouldn't eat dinner till 10:30. That's crazy. To expect people to stay that long is crazy. You're the asshole. That's kind of a crappy way to treat a friend. Basically, you all abandoned the wedding celebration, and I'm guessing she was looking forward to celebrating her wedding with her friends, hence why you were invited. And it was a reasonable expectation of hers that you actually wanted to celebrate her marriage since you went. Honestly, you should go to weddings to celebrate and support the marriage of friends and or family. Drinking should never be a necessity. Even if you were bummed about the alcohol, celebrating and being happy for your friend would take priority over getting drunk. See, this is exactly what I think. I think this is exactly what I think. I don't think you should be expecting, like, oh, I'm going to get so drunk. I need alcohol to go to this wedding. I think that you should just be celebrating and focusing on celebrating. And then if you get alcohol, okay, nice. And if you don't, like, whatever. Is it that big of a deal? I just don't think it's that big of a deal. That's just life. You're the asshole. I'm going to get downvoted because people seem to hate dry weddings. But as someone with a partner in recovery, I will never understand why people can't go without for one night to support someone you supposedly care about. You picked getting drunk over spending time with your friends for the entire reason you were out to begin with. Edit, I knew a lot of folks would hate this, and you did not disappoint. I don't know. I guess I just don't see the large importance of alcohol. I get like wanting to drink at the wedding and stuff, but I don't really get being like super upset about it, especially if the person is sober. Like, he's obviously sober for a reason, and that I feel like is a respectable thing. Like when I see someone or I meet someone that's sober, especially for multiple years, and it's because they had like an addiction problem, that's amazing to me. I think that's amazing. And although, like, yeah, I don't know. I think that's great. I don't understand. I feel like I would want to be nothing but like supportive, and I'd want them to be as comfortable as possible. Like, if I'm not going to, I don't know, I don't want to drink around someone that's uncomfortable with it. Like, my friend's boyfriend is sober, and he's been sober for years, and I like at the beginning when I would go over to her house, I would be like, "Oh, is it like okay if we drink around him? Like, I don't want to make him uncomfortable, you know? If he were uncomfortable with that, I would just not drink. I wouldn't care to not drink. Like, that's not a big deal to me if it's going to make someone else uncomfortable, especially for that reason. But anyways, we're going to move on to the next story. Am I the asshole for refusing to let my brother's fiance... Wait, sorry. I don't know why I just did that. Am I the asshole for refusing to let my brother's fiance wear white to my wedding? So, I, 27 female, am getting married in March to my fiance, 28 male. We're keeping the wedding fairly traditional, and I've been looking forward to this day for years. Here's where the problem comes in. My brother's fiance, Emily, 25 female, approached me at our family Christmas gathering and casually mentioned that she found the perfect dress for my wedding. She pulled up a picture on her phone, and it was a full-on white gown. Not off-white or cream, straight up bridal white. I was a little taken aback and said, "Oh, Emily, I don't think that'll work. Brides usually wear white, and it might confuse people." She kind of just laughed it off and said, "It's fine. I'm not trying to upstage you or anything. I just love how I look in white." I told her I'd prefer if she found something else, but she just brushed me off and said, "It's your day. No one's going to mistake me for the bride." I brought this up with my brother, and he got defensive, saying I'm making a big deal out of nothing, and that Emily is just being herself. He also accused me of being insecure if I think that people will actually think she's the bride. I'm honestly upset. I don't want a confrontation, but I feel like it's common knowledge not to wear white to a wedding unless you're the bride. My fiance agrees with me, and so does my mom. But my brother and Emily are acting like I'm a control freak. I told Emily, again, nicely, that she's welcome to come in any other color, but wearing white is a no go. She rolled her eyes and said she didn't understand why I was being so uptight about it. Now I'm wondering if I'm overreacting. So am I the asshole for sticking to this boundary? I just don't really know what world these people live in that they think it's normal to wear white to a wedding. Like, unless it says all white wedding, you know it's common mother effing sense to not wear white to a wedding or like an engagement party or anything that is celebrating a marriage. You don't wear white because that's literally reserved for the bride. Like, there are times where I see people having an all white wedding and then they're like, that's just their choice. Okay, that makes perfectly fine sense. But if it's not stated that you should wear white or you can wear white, then you don't fucking wear white to a wedding. Like, what the hell is wrong with you? I don't understand. You love how you look in white? Okay, then you get married, plan a wedding, and pay for it. And then you can wear white, girl. Or any other day of the fucking year you can wear white. That actually pisses me off. Like, the way that I would actually uninvite her immediately after she, like, gave me sass about it, I'd be like, okay, don't come, please. You're uninvited. Thank you. That's ridiculous. And the fact that that's crazy because I feel like for me, it's like, I always want to be I don't ever want to start beef with my boyfriend's family or my fiance's family. Like, especially about something so dumb and such an obvious thing that you don't do. Like, you're literally 25 years old. Do you not have common sense at all in your brain? Are your brain cells there? It's genuinely concerning. It's fine. I'm not trying to upstage you or anything. Okay? I don't really care. I don't think that you're going to upstage me. You just don't wear white to a wedding because that just doesn't happen. And no one else is going to be wearing white besides you and the bride. And that's going to look really fucking weird. Like, it's going to look really weird. And you're going to look embarrassing because if I see someone wearing white to a wedding, I'm secondhand embarrassed for that person. I'm like, ooh, I can't believe, like, that's a very risky choice. Like, why would you do that to someone's wedding? Why would you ever wear that? I'd immediately be embarrassed for them and be like, I'm sorry. And I would literally be side-eyeing them. Okay. Some of the top comments. Write "not the bride" on a neon traffic vest. Bring it to the bridal shower and have guests write on it. Make it a huge joke that whoever shows up in white has to wear it. Hang it near the door at the reception. If she shows up in white, there is no way in hell she'll put it on, but she'll see it. More importantly, everyone will see it and will know she wore white to a wedding, even though everyone was warned in advance with the vest at the bridal shower, and know she should be wearing it. Allow the vest and the side-eye to do its work. Warn all the bridesmaids and have them loudly congratulate your future sister-in-law on how courageous she is to wear white at someone else's wedding. You can't really stop her without making a scene, but you can give her all the negative attention that she deserves. I think that no matter what you would do, anyone at the wedding would think that's strange. Like, I don't even think you would need to point it out and be like, oh my god, look, she's wearing white. I think everyone would just see it and be like, weird. Okay, some more comments. Let's see. Not the asshole at all. It's your wedding and you get to set the dress code. It's super disrespectful of her to even suggest wearing a white gown. Like, is she trying to steal your thunder or something? It's not about insecurity. It's about basic courtesy. Not the asshole. If your soon-to-be sister-in-law is like this now, I'd hate to see what she's like in 5 or 10 years' time. If she does end up coming and wears white to your wedding, when it's her wedding, you should try and get as many guests as possible to wear white to her wedding, since you guys all like the way you look in white too. Tell her you're planning on re-wearing your wedding gown to her wedding because you like how you look in white. She doesn't need to worry. Nobody will mistake you for the bride that day. I would hire security. If she shows up in a white dress, don't let her in. No, seriously. Someone said, or no, OP said, should I just uninvite her from the wedding? Yeah, you should. Someone commented on that and said, I wouldn't do that. I'd send a message saying, I'd love for you and my brother to be a part of my big day. However, I'm not comfortable with any other woman wearing white at my wedding, off-white, cream, etc. You can't respect my wishes. Please don't feel it necessary to attend. Ball is in her court. You have laid the boundary. I'd also share the message with your family. Oh my God, I just don't understand. Like, I would never work around this girl. I would never. It's just so stupid. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of worrying. I would just say don't come, and that's that. Okay, we're going to have beef regardless, so just don't come. Even if you did come, if you ended up wearing white, there's going to be even more beef. And then if you didn't wear white, you'd probably hate me for not letting you wear white anyway. So it's like, okay, well, let's just set this, let's just set the stage now. We don't like each other. Let's get that one thing straight. And okay, that's fine, whatever. I just can't believe that people are so unempathetic in the world. Like, I can't believe that people don't genuinely think about how they would feel in that situation. Like, you're telling me that you would let people wear white to your wedding? Probably not if you're wearing a white gown, unless you like that, because like I said, there are people that throw weddings and have everyone wear white, but that's not like the common or traditional thing to do. So I highly doubt that she's going to be doing that kind of wedding. Now, we're going to move on to the next story. This one's really short. Am I the asshole for refusing to let my fiance's ex give a speech at our wedding? My fiance was dating Katie for years. Then they broke it off. She still comes around since she's close to his family. By how much time they had spent together, Katie seems to know my fiance really well. That didn't bother me at first, but it became a huge issue when she asked that I let her give a speech at the wedding since she knows him so well and wanted to tell a few funny stories about him. I felt extremely uncomfortable and told her I was sorry, but I didn't think it was appropriate for her to do that. My mother-in-law got involved and started lecturing me, saying that I need to stop being negative, and claimed that I was making this about me. But that's my wedding. My fiance is choosing to stay out of it, but the pressure is on me now. I'm being called oversensitive and need to loosen up, as this could be a good opportunity to add more laughter and joy to the event. But to be completely honest here, I don't want his ex to take part in our wedding, even if she's a friend of the family and they'd known her since she was a teenager. People are so annoying, actually, about weddings. Like, let the bride decide. And also the fiance, because your son's a fucking pussy. Like, that's literally what I would be saying. Girl, your fiance better be sticking up for you. Huh? If my fiance didn't stick up for me, I would literally leave him at the altar. Bye. Now you get to be the one who was humiliated, because that's like the one thing that I think is so necessary in a relationship. Not to say that they should stick up for you if you're in the wrong, obviously, but this clearly, there's a right and wrong situation here. And not only that, but yeah, it's her wedding day and she can make her decisions, but the fact that the fiance isn't sticking up for her is honestly crazy, especially when it has something to do with his ex. That makes me feel like he's choosing his ex over her. And that's weird. Like, just to be silent, okay, we know what silent means. We know what that means, It's like, you should just stick up for the ex, honestly, at this point, because the silence is deafening, truly. That's like the most ick thing ever, is not your partner not sticking up for you. That's my biggest ick, honestly. I find it so unattractive if you don't have a partner that sticks up for you. That's just crazy to me. Okay, some of the comments. Not the asshole. Fiance needs to step up. Do not marry a man that doesn't have your back. I want to like this 1,000 times. The ex is delusional. The mom is playing favorites with the ex, and the fiance is stepping away. It's his ex and his mom. In a relationship, your new family, it should always be your responsibility to deal with your bio family. Yeah, you should absolutely need to have each other's back. I just don't understand. Yep, if he can't step up and shut this down, OP should shut down the relationship. Absolutely not the asshole for not wanting the ex to make a spectacle at the wedding, but a bit of an asshole to herself for settling for a spineless wonder. I mean, really? He wants to stay out of it? Hell, he's all in the middle of this. Jeez, maybe this is something OP needs to pay attention to. I get that former exes can be tight with the family, but does she not have a life of her own? WTF. If I were a bridesmaid in the wedding, I would talk to OP into doing a rehearsal of how this absurdity might play out and film it with all of our friends there and one person to play the role of the ex, too. The video begins with me introducing the ex. I take the microphone and say, "And now, my fiance's ex will give a speech for the happy new couple," just minutes after they were married. Everyone gasps. That's right, OP gasped too when she was asked and told this. I thought there must have been a hidden camera somewhere, but nope, OP tried to politely dissuade X. But then X went to mother in law, and mother in law tried to convince OP that she was being selfish by not wanting her fiance's ex to give a speech at her own wedding. Where was fiance as this was happening, you ask? He was hoping to stay out of it. So here we are. End video. um, yeah, honestly, bye. Disinvite, disengage. See ya. Disengage, as Lala Kent would say. That was honestly so embarrassing of her, but that is what's needed in this situation. Like, I would just, it's your wedding. I wouldn't have invited my fiance's ex in the first place, to be honest with you. That would just not be happening. I mean, I don't know. It's weird to me. Why would you want any of your exes to go to your wedding? I guess I can't really relate to that because I don't have anyone. I've never dated anyone that was like super family friends close with their ex and their ex's family. That it would make it like normal to invite them, you know? I guess that definitely changes the situation a little bit, but for me it's just like we're exes and that's pretty much it. Unless it was like a friend of mine from like high school and we just like happened to date for a little bit or whatever and like our families were really good friends, like that wouldn't even be considered an ex to me, but it seems like that's not the situation here at all. So yeah, my advice there is I would just uninvite. It's your wedding and you can choose who's going to come to your wedding, and if they're going to make a big deal of it. Also, why are mother-in-laws so terrible on Reddit? Like, you've never seen so many shitty mother-in-laws until you read Reddit stories. They're crazy. I will never be that mother-in-law. I can't imagine being that type of mother-in-law. That's just actually absurd to me. Last story. Am I the asshole for stealing my sister's wedding spotlight with my emergency C-section? This past weekend, my younger sister got married. It was a huge event, over 200 guests, a fancy venue, the works. My husband and I attended, despite me being 38 weeks pregnant. I was feeling fine, and my doctor had cleared me to go as long as I stayed close to home and didn't overexert myself. During the reception, I started feeling some cramps. I thought they were just Braxton Hicks contractions, so I tried to ignore them and focus on the party. About an hour in, the cramps got worse and I started bleeding. My husband and I quickly excused ourselves and headed to the hospital. Long story short, I ended up needing an emergency C-section to deliver my son. Thankfully, everything went well, and our baby is healthy and safe. The issue? My sister is furious with me. She claims I ruined her big day because several family members left the wedding early to come to the hospital, including our parents, who understandably wanted to make sure I was okay. She says I should have waited until after the wedding to go to the hospital, or at least not told anyone what was happening until the next day so they could focus on her. I apologized for the timing, but I reminded her that this was a medical emergency and I didn't exactly choose for it to happen during her wedding. My mom and dad are on my side, but some of her friends and even a few relatives are saying that I'm selfish and could have handled the situation differently. My sister hasn't spoken to me since, and now I'm wondering if I really did something wrong. Am I the asshole for going to the hospital during my sister's wedding? Edit for clarification for those who might ask why I attended the wedding so late in my pregnancy. I cleared it with my doctor beforehand and had no prior complications. The hospital was only 20 minutes from the venue. I had no way of knowing this would happen. The nerve of people, the nerve. You're going to, especially your own sister, to say you should have waited until after it was over. Sorry? My sister got an emergency C-section and my niece's heart was literally stopping. Like, she would have died if they didn't get it as quick as possible, if they didn't cut her open and take my niece out. Like, her heart rate was going down, her heart was like skipping beats, like she was stopping at points, and my sister was nearly about to die herself. and you're going to say that maybe you should educate yourself a little bit more on medical emergencies. You can't just decide when you're going to go. Like, what? That's like saying, oh, you chopped your arm off in the middle of my wedding. Like, you should have just waited to go to the hospital until my wedding was finished. Oh, no, sorry, I can't because actually I just got my arm chopped off and you can only sew it back on within a certain amount of time if you put it on ice. Like, sorry, I don't understand. I don't understand where you're coming from at all. There's not a place or a time or a situation in the world that I would ever understand where this girl is coming from. I understand that it sucks and like, yeah, that's sucky timing, and obviously like you want people to stay at your wedding and it's a huge day for you, but in no way, shape, or form is that her fault. That she also was in a very terrible position, and I highly doubt she wanted to be in that position, especially because that is so dangerous and so scary. And like, you don't understand that the baby could have died, most likely, in this situation. Okay, there's an update. Thanks for the mostly supportive messages, everyone. They are greatly appreciated. Update is that my sister and I have now spoken via phone. She is on her honeymoon and is just yet to meet the baby. This is fine. She is still angry, but more at the situation than me, so this is a welcome shift. Just to all who had asked or speculated, no, I did nothing to draw attention to myself during the reception. My parents noticed what was happening, and word naturally spread among guests. This was beyond my control. Further update, my post was going viral with new comments every minute or so, and suddenly nothing. Guess nothing. Guess they censor anyone who dares to criticize Israel's horrendous genocide of the Palestinians. Disgraceful Reddit. Do better, this is a scandal. Let me know what you think. Did I mess up or is my sister overreacting? Wait, sorry? What does this have to do with Palestine? I'm assuming that she posted something about that, but that was just so out of the blue. Like, I have no idea what the hell? I don't even see anything being posted about that in this at all. In her, like, history on Reddit, I don't see anything. Oh my gosh. I was so confused for a second, like, but I think that you're not wrong, okay? That's really the consensus here. And I feel like anyone who thinks otherwise is a selfish asshole. Because a medical emergency is a medical emergency. There's really nothing you can do about it. The top comment says, how are you and the baby? I'm happy your parents shared concern for your health. P.S. Not the asshole. OP said, happy and healthy. Thank you for asking. And then someone else said, not the asshole. Ask her what she would have preferred, how you left, or waiting until it was too late, putting you and the baby in danger, requiring an ambulance showing up to her reception. Tell her friends and relatives this as well. An emergency C-section is performed only when mom or baby are in danger. I know this because I had one. Me too. OP's sister has main character syndrome. She sounds immature, unkind, and unloving. I would ignore her and her silly friends. Just tell them next time you'll cross your legs. Be sure to ask how large the pool of blood on the floor should have been. Actually, though. You're not the asshole at all. I'm sorry you had a scary birth experience like that, and I'm glad you and the baby are okay. Your sister is being ridiculous. My maid of honor was full term at my wedding, and she told me that she'd just leave as quietly as possible if she went into labor during the ceremony, etc. I told her that I'd absolutely want her to stop everything and let me know, so that I could give her a big hug and everyone could send her off with our best wishes. She's my best friend, and I'm an adult. I can't imagine letting her think that her pregnancy, labor, delivery would ever have been a burden to me. Yeah. I mean, not only that, but if they're going into labor, that's one thing. But if they need an emergency C-section, that's another thing. I'm not saying that either should have been, like, not talked about. I don't agree with that at all. I would honestly be so happy. Like, I'd be like, oh my God, that's amazing. Like, this day is going to be so memorable if they went into labor. But obviously, like, the emergency C-section is not amazing because that's scary, and most likely, like that person said, either the mom or the baby were in danger, and that's so scary. But I'm so happy they're okay, and that's really all that matters now, other than the fact that your sister's a bitch, and hopefully she understands and she maybe learns a little bit more and educates herself about the situation, because it's very selfish of her to be upset as if you had any control over what happens when an emergency happens. Like, I don't really understand. None of these people's point of views on this episode have made sense. And they're honestly pissing me off because why are you a bitch? People are so not understanding. It's kind of crazy. And I guess that just goes with people not having empathy and not being able to picture themselves in other people's situations or anything, like even sympathy, empathy. Do you have any emotions, or are you just caring about yourself? Like, I know that as humans we are kind of built to be a little self-centered. Like, yeah, we're thinking about ourselves a lot more than other people are. Like, I'm constantly anxious about what other people are thinking of me, or during this time 5 months ago and I did this. Like, oh my God, that's so embarrassing. Like, I honestly, genuinely, like 20 minutes ago, was just thinking about a situation that happened while I was drunk, and I think I kind of embarrassed myself. And like, I was like, I don't even know. It was like, when you drink a lot and like you're feeling fine and fine and fine, so you keep drinking, but then all of a sudden it hits you and there's like a 30-minute at the end of the night where you're just completely like incoherent, and you like, I remember what happened, but I wasn't like of right mind at all. And I hate that, like when it all hits you at once and you just kept drinking because like you didn't feel anything yet, so you were just like drinking, okay, casually drinking, keep on drinking, whatever. And then it just hits you all at once and it's literally the worst. I think I was like, I don't know. Something was happening and I was like at an engagement party, and then we went to like the house. We went to a different house after to play like card games, and two of the guys were being absolute assholes, and I was like sticking up for the person that was having the engagement party, and I was like, that's ridiculous. Like, they were being assholes to me specifically for some reason. I never met these people before this, and they were being such assholes to me. It was actually insane. I was like, and then after that, I think that kind of ramped me up a little bit because they were being so mean. So I was like, really? Like, it's his engagement party. It's, you guys are going to be groomsmen and you're being so ridiculous. Like, usually I feel like when you're celebrating someone and you're celebrating someone's like achievements or engagement or whatever, you want to do, like, you want to be as agreeable with the person that you're celebrating as possible, right? Like, you're not making a scene or making things like complicated. And I forget why they were making things complicated. They wanted to bet money, and there was like a practice, it was like a practice round of poker or something, and they thought that they should have gotten paid because the rules weren't known, and I don't know, something just happened. And then we were like, okay, let's just like start over and start from zero, like everyone's at zero. And they're like, no bro, like what? I should be paid. Like, I should have been paid. I literally bet and we won that round. And I was like, what the fuck is your guys' problem? Why are you guys freaking out? Like, you should just be happy for your friend over here and just be like, okay, sounds good. I don't know. Maybe it's just because I'm not a guy, but I was honestly pissed, and I was also drunk. So I was like, what the hell is your guys' problem? And then they were being so mean to me before I even said anything. So that definitely made me like even more mad. I remember like everything, but I was definitely getting so much more drunk by the minute. So I know that I was being like probably a little harsh, but not like crazy harsh. I think I was just like saying that they were being ridiculous assholes. And then they were like coming back at me, and I was like coming back at them. But yeah, I always do that. When I'm drunk, I always like, people are always, am I not? No, not, I'm not even going to say always. It's happened like 2 times, and I just like hold on to those moments. And yeah. But I was just saying how I feel like I just get anxious about everything, and I'm always constantly thinking about my like myself, but not in like a good way. It's more like a bad way, like a self-deprecating way, thinking like, ugh, all these people think I'm a loser. That's how I'm thinking. But in reality, people aren't thinking that because everyone else is just thinking so much about themselves, just like you are, that they don't really give a fuck what they're doing. And they're probably not ever going to think about that situation again. You know what I mean? You know what I'm trying to say? But anyways, my hand itches so bad for some reason. That's it for the story times. We're going to move on to the advice segment. And if you guys ever want advice from me, I'm not a professional, but I just like to like help you guys out and give us the best advice as possible. Maybe sometimes it's not always going to be the best because I'm obviously not an expert in anything, or like I have no experience other than just being alive for 26 years, which really isn't that long. But if you need advice ever and you want it from me, perhaps, the Google form is below and it's completely anonymous. I don't collect any information, not even an email. So you can be as descriptive as possible. I am 19 years old and live with my family, mom 43, sister 16, and another sister 12. We've been homeless off and on my entire life and lived in poverty. My mom tries her hardest, but it's hard because she has health issues that are currently preventing her from having a job and used to struggle with an addiction that also caused her to not work, so we had nothing saved. Currently, we're facing homelessness again for I think the seventh time. The situation this time is that we live in this 2-bedroom house and our landlord lives downstairs in the basement. They have 2 dogs that they let out through our back door. This means that they have access to our apartment at any given time. This has never been a true issue for us, though. They knew our situation and worked with my mom, and my mom was always transparent and communicative about when we weren't able to pay rent. Our landlord told us numerous times throughout the past year we lived here that it was understandable and that they loved having us there. This past summer, I was away in Massachusetts. I worked and sent money to my mom so that they'd be able to afford groceries and other necessities. It was rough because I was making $15 an hour and had to pay rent, get my own groceries. I know $15 an hour sounds decent, but the city I was staying in had a very high cost of living, and that is considered minimum wage there, but I did what I could when I was able. Anyway, over the summer, our landlord screamed in my mom's face about rent being late, which seemed really out of character because they'd been so understanding and civil up to that point. I'm unaware of the specific details because I wasn't there, and my mom didn't tell me about this until yesterday because she didn't want to have me worrying while I was away. She told me that in the midst of their yelling, my mom wasn't yelling back to be clear, the landlord uses they them pronouns. She told them that this wasn't productive. They immediately stopped yelling and apologized. Jump to current day, December 26th. The landlord calls my mom at 9 a.m. and yells at her about rent again. The call dropped, and the landlord ran up the stairs and banged on the front door. So, the way our house is set up, me and my youngest sister have the bedrooms, and my mom and 16-year-old sister sleep in the living room. My older sister, 20 years old, was home for Christmas break and also slept in the living room. There's a screened front porch which leads to the basement. So the banging woke the other 2 siblings up. My mom goes to the door to speak with the landlord, and they continue yelling at my mom. They said, I heard you having a party upstairs yesterday. That tells me, F you, Shadow. There was no party. We had Christmas dinner and did gifts and played Christmas music on our TV. It was just immediate family and my older sister's boyfriend. We're always cautious of our volume level when they're home, and it never got out of control. I'm going to leave out important details for the sake of keeping it as short as possible, but in short, landlord told us that we needed to get out of our house by 6 p.m. the next day. Now, legally, at least in our state, once you've lived somewhere for 30 days and received mail, you've established residency, and in order to have us removed, they'd need to go through the court system and evict us. We'd also had a lease, and my mom was fully prepared to accept this if we wouldn't have a place to go. Her logic was that if we didn't have a place to go with a roof over our heads, we would not be voluntarily leaving, but she was calling and texting anyone she could think of to ask if they'd have room for us, including homeless shelters. Again, cutting things short, but I texted my best friend in the world about the situation just for emotional support. We've been officially best friends. We've officially been friends for a little over a year, and she's helped my family countless times, making sure we have had clean laundry, a ride anywhere we needed to go, food on the table, emotional support, and more. I've shown up for them as well. They need to get out of their homes for whatever reason. Come to mine for as long as you need. No questions needed. No questions asked. Need advice? I'm there. We've had many talks about my worries of not being able to support them as much as they've helped me, but they've assured me that they feel our relationship is balanced and they'd talk to me if that ever changed. This friend and her mom offered their basement to me and my household without a second thought. I did not ask for this, they just felt that it was the obvious thing to do. I'm typing this from her basement actually. We have a place to stay for a week, and after that, if we don't have a place to go, they said they'd be more than willing to work with us and assured us that being on the streets wasn't an option. So finally, to get what I'm asking for advice on, how do I cope with all of this? Heavy question, I know, but living in such small quarters with my family is such a mentally taxing thing to deal with. Obviously, I've gotten through it before and I'm optimistic I will this time again. But I struggle with many mental illnesses, anxiety, depression, PTSD, BPD, and all of this coming up again has added another layer. I'm already feeling so suffocated, and this is probably the most ideal situation given the circumstances. I have a history of self harm and other unhealthy coping mechanisms that I've made immense progress in over the last year with having my own space to process. And now I'm feeling all of these feelings come up from the traumas of being homeless, and it's causing me to dissociate and feel suicidal. I picked up journaling over the last year, and it's made a huge difference for me. I've struggled with bottling up my emotions for many reasons, one being lack of words. I'm a thinker and a talker, and being able to formulate and articulate my thoughts on paper gives me the time to process and gives me words to put to my emotions. I also am medicated for my various mental illnesses. I was seeing a therapist earlier this year, but stopped seeing her because we just didn't click and it felt pointless, honestly. I am aware that I can't do this all alone and need professional help, and I desire it as well. But it took 4 months to get off the waiting list for a therapist and then finally got one, and it just did not help. Honestly, very discouraging. If you don't end up using this in an advice segment, for whatever reason, I completely understand. It's been helpful to just write everything out and have some sort of release. Also, I'm willing to reveal myself in the comment section if any further clarification or details are necessary or desired. Okay, what I first have to say is that I'm so proud of you for making all the progress that you have, and honestly for just being in a situation like this and being so optimistic, because it seems like you've like really tried your best to be like take first of all taking care of your family when you don't have to do that, and being like so selfless in that way, which I understand 100% why you would like help your family. I would as well, but obviously being, like also not being fortunate and like helping your family is very gracious of you. And I am very proud of you and very respecting that you did. Respecting? Is that a word? I don't know. But I respect you a lot for that. And I think that this is like such a hard thing to deal with. And I honestly can't imagine to this level of like what it's like. I have had struggles growing up with poverty and things like that. So, like, to a certain extent, I can understand and relate. But in honestly, like, even just to the extent where how me and my family struggled growing up, it was really hard. And I still have a lot of things that are kind of like, I guess you would say, kind of trauma. I don't know about my like upbringing and not being, I think a lot of the way that I am now and the way that I am with money and the way that I am with like jobs and trying to work as hard as possible to always provide for myself is definitely an outcome of how I grew up and just being scared of not having money or not being able to take care of myself. And as much as I would love to literally like, I wish so bad that I had the funds and the ability to take care of other people in the way that some people do, because I swear to God, like I would literally, even you, like right now, just hearing your story and just like hearing the struggle, but also you trying to get help and trying to like even just reach out to me to ask for advice. Like, I just wish I could give you everything. Like, I wish I could give you a house. I wish I could buy you a house. Because if I had enough money, I literally would. Like, I just feel so much for you. And I just like, I really hope things get better. But I'm so happy that you picked up journaling, because that was one of the recommendations that I was going to say. I think journaling helps a lot. And I love journaling, especially when I'm going through hard times. I just find it to be very therapeutic. I also saw or see that you have access to therapy, which is wonderful. And obviously, I know that it wasn't like the best experience for you, because it's annoying to have to go through different therapists to find one that you click with. And I know how frustrating it is, but honestly, I've talked about the previous experience I've had with a therapist that was like extremely apathetic to things that I was going through. And that was like honestly so weird and such a terrible experience to have. But I do recommend trying again, like as much as you possibly can, especially if you have access to it and you're able to. I think that therapy can be so helpful if you find the right person. And I do know that it's going to take time and you just have to have a little bit of patience with it and just stick it out a little bit for as much as you can, because once like you do find someone that you click with, it seriously helps so much. And I can attest to that. Like it helped me a lot. Obviously, it can only do so much if you're just going to like general therapy and you're going to like a general therapist. Some of the things maybe that you struggle with, you might need a little bit more of someone with an expertise. But again, whatever you have access to and whatever is accessible for you, because I know that things like that are a luxury, honestly. And as much as I would like to say that you should do like this type of therapy or this type of therapy, I know that not everyone has access to it. But if you do, I would look into something that more caters to the types of mental illnesses that you have. And I think that would be a lot more helpful for you. But if you can just get general therapy and find a good general therapist, that will help a lot. But I'm not sure how much free time you have or like if you have any hobbies, but something that I would recommend is obviously you're saying that like being alone and being able to process your feelings without a bunch of people around and including your family. I would for what like I really like to go to coffee shop. I like to do like free things. If you can go to a coffee shop and you can journal at the coffee shop for a while and have time to process your emotions at the coffee shop. Or I'm saying this because I've been like a avid reader lately. My boyfriend got me a Kindle for Christmas and I literally almost finished 3 books since I've gotten it on the 25th. And I would highly suggest picking up reading. I think that it's such a good e- escape from reality just to be away from reality for a little bit. And as an overthinker myself, it's so nice to have something that I'm completely 100% focused on, that my mind can't even wander because I'm so focused on this book that I'm basically like in that reality. And that's really helpful. And it's just a great little escape from what you're thinking about, and it helps a lot to like get your mind off things sometimes, although obviously you do want to process your emotions and like go think about things and journal about what's going on in your life. There are some times where it's like you have to give yourself a break from that as well and like do something that's more enjoyable. And I feel like everyone could get into reading if they really tried, if they really found books that they like or like an author that they like I love Frida McFadden right now. I really love thriller books, so all of her books have been very amazing, and I have just been flying through them, and I love them so much. But also, if you have a local library you could go to, you can literally spend, like, if you have a free day, you could spend the whole day at the local library. The local library, for me, it's more of like a nostalgic thing, but also if you wanted to get books there, you could, or if you just wanted to sit there and journal, you could. But also, I just feel like the library gives this sort of like vibe. It's just like a comforting vibe. And it's like quiet and it's peaceful in there, and you're just surrounded by books, and I just find it peaceful, and it's another free kind of activity that you can do and also be alone and away from people for a little bit. Another thing that has helped me a lot when I'm going through things that I would recommend is like recording yourself, if that's like a voice memo or just on your phone camera or something, recording myself venting and just like I'm as if I'm talking to a friend or a therapist about what's going on in my life. That helps me a lot with processing emotions and even just like getting things out there and being able to be like, oh, like I just want to tell someone this, but like I also struggle with being vulnerable with people to a certain extent. Like sometimes I find myself really holding things back that I'm going through just because I don't like to burden other people with my issues. And not only that, but I also just like sometimes just, I don't know, I just feel like no one will understand, even though I know, like in my head, I'm like, okay, they probably will. And it's not like anything I'm going through is like the most unrelatable thing ever. It's just, I don't know. I just feel like sometimes maybe it's that I don't want to like admit how I'm feeling, and saying it out loud is scary because that means that like I'm admitting that I'm not feeling well, or that I'm anxious, or that I'm overthinking. And sometimes, I don't know, it just feels uncomfortable to be that vulnerable to an extent. And if you don't have like a space to do that, I would say, first of all, I think going on walks to get some endorphins going is really nice, but make sure you're carrying something with you like pepper spray or something, and only going during the day and like in busy places, because that can also be a dangerous thing, which we have to worry about now. If I think that alone is a really good way to escape and also like get some happy feelings going because of the endorphins that it lets out when you're exercising. And then if you don't have like a space to record, you can record and talk to yourself on the phone. Like, you know what I mean? While you're walking, if you don't have space to do that anywhere, which it seems like you don't really have like a space at home where you could kind of be to yourself and do that. So I think like walking and doing that would be a good idea. I know that these are just small little changes, and trust me, I'm not ignorant. I'm not the type of person that is like, go on a walk and you won't be depressed anymore, because that literally pisses me off so much. When I was like, a lot of people still think like, oh, just go. Every time I hear advice where it's like, just go on a walk and you won't be depressed, I promise. Like, I'm so pissed, because I'm like, actually, that makes me want to punch you and never walk again in my life, because that's not going to cure my depression. So I'm not being ignorant and saying that these are going to cure your mental illnesses and you're going to be fixed after taking a little walk. Like, trust, I have gone through a lot of mental problems and issues, and when people say that kind of stuff, it pisses me off. But these are just small little things that kind of can get you space from your family or your friends or just anyone, and help you decompress and think through things and process your emotions a little bit more than just a journal allows you to. Yeah, that's really what I have for today. If I think of anything else, I will say, I'll let you know in the next episodes. But thank you for being so vulnerable, and thank you for putting that submission in, because I know how hard it can be. And I truly only wish you the best. Like, I really hope things get better. I'm really happy that you have a friend that lets you stay with them and will help you figure it out. It's nice to know that you're not alone, and that's something really to be grateful for. And I'm really proud of you just for everything and how you're handling the situation, because I'm sure it cannot be easy. And I just, I really wish you the best, and I will keep you in my thoughts and only hope for amazing things for you. I'm always here if you need to talk, seriously. I am here for you. You can put another advice question in, or you can literally just chat with me. All my social media is in the description. So, and like, you could go to my Instagram and DM me and I will see it, because I always look through my DMs and my requests and stuff, and I'm here for you. I'm here for you if you ever need to talk. I know how hard it can be to. I love you, and I love you guys, and I really hope I'm going to go ride the bike to the grocery store, because I need a little exercise and I need something from the grocery store, so why not just combine it into one? So I'm going to hop off here, and I love you guys, and I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please let me know what you thought about the stories. Obviously, if you have any advice, because I love when you guys comment about the advice segment and you give advice as well, because the more the merrier, you know? And I love you guys, and I'm so grateful for all of you in this community that we have. Honestly, like, hearing stories of you guys just makes me feel more connected to you guys, and I hope that I can help in any way possible, because that's all I could ever wish for. I love you, and I'm here for you all, okay? I love you. Bye. Wait, I just said I love you like 10 times. But bye. See ya. Love you.